No.
Yes.
No.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes and no.
I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I would call it a hobby.
A hobby, sure.
I think it has some hobby elements.
It's not the way everybody would spend their day off.
For me, birding is not just a hobby, it's sort of it's a passion.
A passion or a lifestyle.
And it's sort of an all-consuming thing.
Obsession, really.
It's an obsession.
More of a sport.
It's certainly not a sport.
I'd call it a sport.
It certainly qualifies as a hobby.
It's a hobby for some people.
I would call it a hobby.
As opposed to a profession.
It's my profession.
I'd call it a job. All of the above. Yeah.
Good morning. I had an interesting experience this morning. I woke up in a strange motel room. Not the first time this has happened, and not the first time that I've wondered how I got there. And so what I've learned to do in cases like this is check my pockets. I checked to find that there was a key that I have no idea what it's for. There's a car key to a car I don't own. There was a packet of no-dos, of which there are still 2 left. And that's how I knew that it was the morning after the World Series of birding.
A World Series of birding is a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
The World Series is a complicated event.
The World Series of birding is a big game.
It's a real personal challenge.
One of the most exciting sporting events there is.
The actual nuts and bolts of the event is it's a 24-hour competition where people try and see as many species of birds in the state of New Jersey as they can.
You can go anywhere you want in the state of New Jersey as long as you get down to Cape May Point by midnight.
At the end of the day, the teams stagger in and hand in their totals, and then we see who came out on top.
The last few years, the competition has gotten very tough.
It's like downhill skiing, downhill skiing where the top 10 competitors after a 1.5 mile downhill course are separated by 2/100ths of a second. We kind of got into that way in the World Series.
It's not as quote-unquote easy as it looks.
It's not just a bunch of guys with esoteric knowledge and interests running around being nuts all over the state of New Jersey, although there is that too.
It's a whole lot of fun, and it is definitely the premier event in birding in North America.
There's a whole thing of orange juice here. Should we take that?
Maybe we just set it back.
Okay. Well, I'm ready.
I heard a few migrant chips there.
You did? Everyone got their binoculars?
One thing we need to try to remember is don't slam the door after you get out of the car. Just push it closed so we don't scare off the birds and maybe ruin somebody else's bird.
When we leave, slam it.
There we go.
Basically, it's a 24-hour marathon to raise money, like a telethon.
This is a birdathon.
People pledge just as they would in a telethon or a walkathon. They pledge a certain amount of money on each species seen.
Each team asks friends,
co-workers,
neighbors,
people they know,
employers,
corporations,
The person that just came up and sold them the Girl Scout cookies.
to pledge a certain number of pennies or dollars per species they see.
Yeah, you can't participate in the World Series without raising funds for conservation. That's one of the rules. That's a very good rule.
Each team raises money for their own charities or for their own organizations.
They get to choose what kind of good cause the money is going to go to.
a local environmental group or commission or school, or you can raise money for any environmental reason you think is worth pursuing.
That's an additional incentive to go out and do as well as you can. Even if you're not going to win the series, the more species you have, the more money you raise.
And the consequence is $500,000 a year raised for conservation all over the United States, just from this event alone.
The World Series actually doesn't get competitive.
Yes, it gets very competitive.
Not really competitive.
I certainly hope it gets competitive.
It does, no question about it.
This is a friendly competition. There are no elbows to the ribs.
All of the people that we are competing against in the event are friends of ours.
It's very, very friendly.
All the friendship said and done, we really want to win this thing.
They want to win.
Sure, we want to win.
We really, really want to.